So today we'll discuss one of the properties of subsets of the real numbers. So in the previous class we have discussed different kinds of collection of numbers that comes under real numbers. Now we pick up one of the subsets of real numbers and we discuss a property on that. First suppose say there are two positive integers. Now positive integers is the subset which I am taking from the real number set, and I am trying to discuss a property on positive integers. Now I will be trying to take pairs of some positive integers. Suppose say some 3, 5, then say some 15, 15, say some 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then say some 7 and some 24, also 20. So these are the pairs of numbers which I am trying to take. Now you might have already learnt divisions in your earlier classes, that is from that is in 4th or 5th standard. You might have done a division. Now I will be doing the same division, however I will be examining the division more closely than what you have done in your previous classes. So whenever you are given two numbers, what you do is you choose a number which is biggest out of the two, and you will divide the biggest number with the smallest number. This is what generally we do. So 5 we divide with 3, 3 1s are 3, so the leftover is 2. Now 2 is smaller than 3, therefore we terminate the division process. Now when the numbers are equal, we don't make a clear distinction, we take any number of our choice. 15, 15 1s are 15, and 0, again this number is less than this, we'll terminate the division process. Similar case I will apply with these two numbers. Out of this 1, 2, 3 is the biggest number, divide with 10, then 10 1s are 10, leftover is 2, and carry forward 3. Again 23 is bigger than 10, so we divide it. 10 2s are 20, and we are left over 3. 3 is less than 10, so 3 is less than 10, therefore we terminate the process. Now similar case 25 divided by 7, 7 3s are 21, the leftover is 4, 4 is less than 7, we terminate the division process. Now this is what you have done in your earlier classes. Now we examine them closely. Now we examine them all these 4 cases, and we try to generalize the same. So the first thing, whenever you are given, now we go with the observations in fact. Now the first thing, whenever you are given two positive integers, what we are trying to do is, whenever we are going for division, we are trying to choose the biggest number and we are dividing with the lowest number. That is what we are trying to do. If both the numbers are same, there is no such case of choosing which number is bigger and which number is smaller. That is the first thing which we are doing, choosing the biggest number amongst the given two numbers, and there is no choice between the numbers when they are equal. So that is what we are doing at the first instance. Now in the second instance, we are dividing the biggest number with the smallest number. So when we are dividing the biggest number with the smallest number, now we are arriving at two different numbers. Here this is one number which we have arrived at, and this is another number. Similar case in every pair of numbers which we have taken, we are arriving at two new numbers. Now these are here two new numbers in every case which we are arriving at. That is, whenever you are given two positive integers, whenever you are dividing them, we are arriving at two integers again. So here 1 and 2, 1 and 0, 12, 3, 3, 4. Again we are arriving at two integers. Let us name these as some, generally we call it as quotient. This is called your remainder. So I will say Q for quotient and R for remainder, for the sake of speaking, because the numbers are different over here. So for the sake of speaking in general, I am taking Q and R. So for every two positive integers, we are arriving at some integers Q and R. Now that is the second observation which we can make. Now when you divide 5 with 3, apart from 1 and 2, 1 as quotient and 2 as remainder, do we get any other number as quotient and remainder? Of course not. In fact, the only quotient which you are going to get is 1 whenever you divide 5 with 3, and whenever you are dividing 15 with 15, the quotient is 1. Whenever you are dividing 123 with 10, the quotient is 12. Now, apart from these quotients, there are no other quotients which you are going to arrive at. When you are dividing this 5 with 3, 15 with 15, 123 with 10, and 25 with 7. So, may I say that the quotient is fixed here, that is, you always arrive at the same quotient. So, that is what we call it as the number q is unique. Now, let us examine this number as well. Now, here the remainder is 2. Here also the remainder is 2. Here remainder is 3. Remainder is 4. So, apart from this remainder, again, just like the way we have concluded that q is fixed, r is also fixed. Therefore, whenever you are given two positive integers, we are arriving at two integers q and r which are always unique. That is, they are fixed. They are constant. So, these are unique. Now, that is the second observation that you can make. Now, we try to establish a relationship between the given two positive numbers using the newly arrived numbers, which are q and r in this case. And I will follow the same thing to the other three cases as well. Or in other words, what I will try to do is, I will try to write this biggest number in terms of all these three. So, I will try to write here 5 using all these three, like 3 into 1 plus 2. May I write like that? So, 3 into 1 plus 2. Now, I apply the same process here and I will examine whether it is working or not. That is, 15 is equal to 15 into 50, 15 into 1 plus 0. Next, 123 and 10. So, 123, I can write it as 10 into 12 plus 3. And here 25, we can write 7 into 3 plus 4. In fact, the same rule can be applied for all the cases. Therefore, I can say that these two positive integers, that is, whenever you are given two positive integers, one positive integer can be written in terms of other positive integers using the two newly arrived numbers. Now, what I will do is, I will name this as some a, and I will take this as some b, this as some q, and this as some r. Now, here 5 is a, so I will write it as a, and 3 is b, so I will write it as b. 3 into 1 is q, I will write it as q, and 2 is r, so plus r. So, finally, you can write a positive integer in terms of another positive integer using the newly arrived numbers in this manner. So, this is the third observation that we can make. Now, the fourth observation. Now, look into the remainder cases here. Now, if you observe closely, all these, in fact, we have terminated the division process only when you are arriving at a number which is less than this. 3 is less than 10, 0 is less than 15, 2 is less than 3. So, instead of speaking like 2 and 3, 0 and 15, as I have named here b and r, whatever the number which is over here, I am naming it as b, and whatever the numbers which are over here, I am naming it as r. So, I can say that this number is less than this. In other words, r is less than b. That is what I can say. That is the fourth observation which I can make. R is less than b. So, that is the observation which I can make. R is less than b. Now, r is less than b, and r is lesser and lesser. Now, think of what is the minimum value that r can have. So, 2, 0, 3, 4, and when you look into or when you examine the least value of r, that is 0. Now, if it is 0, we know that we will terminate it, and also in other cases where these numbers are less than, these numbers will terminate it. So, when you go backward, when you go lesser and lesser and lesser, r will terminate. In fact, the value of r will be least when it is equivalent to 0, and we don't have any value of r that is less than 0. So, we can say that r is less than b, and it is lesser and lesser, and it is so less that it is equivalent to 0 and it cannot go beyond 0. So, these are the four observations which we can make. I repeat it again. The first observation is, whenever you have two positive integers, we will be choosing a biggest out of the two, and we will divide the biggest with the smallest, and when they are equal, we don't have such a case. Now, that is the first observation. Next, whenever you are dividing those two positive integers, we are always arriving at two more integers which are always unique. These two numbers which I am speaking about. That is the second observation I have made. And the third observation is one of the biggest positive integer or one positive integer can be written in another positive integer using the newly arrived positive integers. And the last observation is this r is always less than b and the least value of r is 0, that is it cannot go beyond 0. So these are the four observations which I can make whenever I have given two positive integers. Now I will generalize the same. So since I am talking about two positive integers, let us say that two positive integers are a and b. Let a and b be two positive integers. So whenever you are given two positive integers, we are always arriving at two integers q and r which are always unique. That is what I write. Then there exists two integers, in fact two unique integers, that is those integers are fixed, that is what we have discussed. Then there exists two unique integers, and there exist two unique integers q and r such that now they exist in such a way that you are able to write one positive integer in terms of another positive integer using both of them, which is I mean a is equal to bq plus r, such that a is equal to bq plus r, where r is less than b and it goes lesser and lesser until it reaches 0. So that is the case. That is, whenever you are given two positive integers, whenever you are given two positive integers, then there exists two unique integers q and r such that a is equal to bq plus r, where 0 less than or equivalent to r less than b. Now this is what we call it as Euclid's division lemma. Now basically this is the restatement of the long division process which you have done in your lower classes. Just we examine it closely and we will formalize in the form of a statement. So this is it. Let a and b be two positive integers. Whenever you have two positive integers, then there exists unique integers q and r such that a is equal to bq plus r, where 0 less than or equivalent to r less than b. Now this is what we call it as Euclid's division lemma. Now lemma is a proven statement which we use in the proofs of other statement, or which we use in proving other statements. So that is the case. So this is all about Euclid's division lemma. So whenever you are given two positive integers, basically there exists two integers q and r in such a way that a is equal to bq plus r, where 0 less than or equivalent to r less than b. Now if you don't have a clarity on this condition, let us examine some numbers. For suppose say you are dividing 123 with 3 and say 3 with 30, or say some 31, or say 44 with 3. Now divide this, what do you get? 3 4s are 12, 0, carry forward 3, 3 1s are 3, 0. Here r is 0, which is less than 3. Yes. Now divide this. 3 1s are 3. 1 time. Now this is not a remainder. This is a carried forward number. So you take 0 times. So 3 zeros are 0, 0, 1. Now this is the remainder, and this remainder is less than 3. So we stop the division process. So here the remainder is 1. Now look into that. 3 1s are 3. 14. 3 4s are 12. And the leftover is 2. That is, whenever you divide any number with 3, you'll always arrive at either 0 or 1 or 2. Now that is the meaning of this. So r less than b in the sense here b is 3. So b is 3 and r is less than 3. Which means that r can be 2, r can be 1 and r can be 0. So these are the possible values of r when you divide any number with 3. Likewise, if you divide with 4, then the possible r's will be 0, 1, 2, 3. So that is it with regards to the Euclid's division lemma, and today I will be posting you a worksheet on the same. Now the worksheet contains all the problems in which every part of the statement is involved. So examine this, read this carefully and then answer it. So that's it.